Hi guys, thanks for joining me. Oh, as a new content creator, it has been a long time since I haven't had to do an Arsenal preview midweek. I don't remember the last time Arsenal haven't had to play a midweek game, like 3 games in a week. So this week is a bit weird for me, but it has been relentless. And I think this has had a lot to do with why Arsenal got to December, January, and we have flagged a lot. Playing as consistently as we've been playing, I think it's really difficult to plan, and Arteta found it really difficult, I think, to get the momentum from earlier in the season right into the running that we are in. We've got less than 6 weeks, I think, to go before we find out. It's 5 games, 5 weeks, to find out who actually lifts this Premier League trophy. Life is going to be very difficult and very stressful. And it is important for me to be as calm. This is a time for calmness. Manchester City have got a midweek game. I don't think they didn't have a midweek game last week because they were not playing in the Champions League like we did. I think we played Sporting. So literally, actually, they had that advantage over us. It's very important to play. Look at how fresh they're looking. I mean, they've been looking fresh for longer than we have, despite some of the other games in Europe. But they had, I think, great buys in the January window with Semenyo and Gehi. Gehi has saved their lives. Do you remember how they were struggling earlier in the season in that midfield, in that defense? You know, he's brought in whatever. Pep is just a genius. And as much as I wanted to sort of give Pep a bit of cheek, you can't really justify it. He is the difference maker. So Pep is a difference maker, and that is where Arteta basically can't compete. Nobody can compete. He has been in the Premier League how many years? How many managers have managed to get the beating of Pep consistently as a body of work? That's why sometimes I talk about a body of work in the Premier League. You can take one game off Manchester City, have a good day. They don't organize themselves. He doesn't panic because he knows even if you're 12 points ahead of him in December, by the time April is coming, he's whittled that lead down. And that is where I think Arteta is learning his lessons. I mean, he hasn't learned any from the last season. Wasn't really a lesson because we had similar issues as we are having this season. Earlier, with injuries and stuff, he reinforced, but he should have thought about reinforcements in January as well. And I think Pep's sort of pedigree, Pep's influence at Manchester City means that he can just ask for what he needs and he'll get it. Whereas our guy Arteta is still trying to earn it because despite spending so much money, some things haven't gone his way, his team. And I think he's also one of these people, as we've seen with certain players in the team, where he gives them too many chances before he gives up on them. Not only gives up on them before taking them out and choosing the games to play them in. You know, look at Reinders. I think Reinders is a pretty decent player. But just when was the last time you saw him have a run out? Shecky has taken that spot. And I don't know how Pep does it. How do you get these players to perform so brilliantly? You know, compared to our Zubimendi, who's had a tough time recently. For me, I've seen that gap from before. And I'm not shocked about everyone else noticing it now. But we had players at the end of the match hugging him, you know, treating him as if he's like this precious, basically as if he's on a work placement. This guy is supposed to be a professional earning millions of pounds a year, and you're treating him like that. When he got that man of the match at a 0-0 draw, which by the way he wasn't, did you see how everyone was it's become some social club where it's a participation thing. We've still got that mentality, which I really don't mind. We cannot all be the ruthless juggernauts. We need to have some personality, and that is our personality. We need to accept it at the end of the day. So I don't mind that too much. But for me, I think this week off is exactly what we need. You know, Rice was ill the other week, so he played Manchester City, probably not at 100% level. Odegaard came back after injury to play in that game, and I thought he was pretty decent, considering not better than anybody. I'm not comparing him to other performances, but I thought it was pretty good considering this is a guy who has spent about 60% of the season on a sick bed, on a physio's bed. He's really fragile. We also didn't play with Saka, who I didn't know I even missed until the last few games. I feel like we are missing him tremendously right now. That spark of magic he brings sometimes, being able to cut it, being able to curl one into the top, of the goal. Those kinds of genius moments that he used to give us at certain points in the season. I reckon if we had him up and running right now, we would be absolutely cooking. But I don't think the road or the success is blocked at all. Because let us think about it, guys. If I'm hearing that he is almost back, and Saka might be back for Newcastle. He might be back for Newcastle. If he's back for Newcastle and he can maintain, play the next 5 games in the Premier League, guys, we are home and dry. And I know you have counted Arsenal out. Even Arsenal fans have counted us out. But the fact is, we are all expecting Manchester City to beat Burnley. We'll be sharing the points. I will be goal difference. Manchester City have got 3 tougher games than us. They've got Bournemouth. Is it Bournemouth? Bournemouth, Brentford, and Villa. I don't think Villa will be a struggle. We should not even be expecting to get a favor from them. But I feel like Bournemouth, Brentford might be able to do something to them without even thinking about us, hopefully. So I've also seen some videos about the atmosphere at the Emirates. Our fans are probably, at the moment, they are our biggest obstacles. And I have absolutely so much irritation towards this fan base. Because when I was moaning about the things that were not working in the team, you were pretending everything was hunky-dory, or you just did not have the foresight to see it. Now, when you need to have blind loyalty, that is when you're bringing all this tension and negativity. This is when you should be following blindly and pushing those boys, say you guys are so good, you can do whatever you want. Look at me, I'm even supporting Zubimendi. You know what I mean? I'm seeing the positives instead of the negatives, because without him, we are completely cooked. I think, although we should try Norgard as well. I mean, it's too late now, to be honest, to be bringing in new players, but I wish we had tried him earlier in the season to bed him in, to get that chemistry going. We miss Merino as well, but for me, I miss Bukayo Saka. Bro, come back. Juri and Timber as well. Remember when we were criticizing Juri and Timber for running headlessly? But that is because this guy was, every time he was brought down, he stayed down for long, because it's almost like his spirit and his energy was radiated out of him. He had been run into the ground. Also, we need to, I'm looking at my notes. Also, win percentage. Oh, I saw something about a win percentage when we play Bukayo Saka compared to when we do not play. So with Bukayo Saka starting, our win percentage ratio is 2.3 points per game, which is about 73%. But without Saka, it's 1.6, which is 45%. So if we had him fit through the season, Pep would be absolutely, his genius would not count. But even Pep has had injuries he's had to contend with. He's played most of this season. Last year, it was Rodri who scuppered his dream. Some players are sort of important, others are not. But for me now, I am seeing his 300k a week salary, why we need him. He is our sort of our core. We need him playing all the time for us to be successful at all. And now another thing that I wanted to sort of confront head on is the idea that Arteta should leave Arsenal for any reason whatsoever, whether we win the league or not, that he should leave. You guys need to wake the actual hell up, because I feel like you are such a bunch of entitled, spoiled brats. You have been watching Arsenal the last 5 seasons and you think you deserve more than you do. That's it. You don't deserve anything. In fact, you're so juvenile and so dumb. I've done this for 25 years, yeah. I saw the end days of Arsene. The end days of Arsene, where he was lying to us, telling us that fourth place was a trophy. Fourth place was a trophy at some point. Some of us thought it was a joke, but there are people in that club who actually believed it. We've gone through a few changes. We've now got Mikel Arteta, who has been from like second season. He was here. Second. We finished badly at one point when we went second, even last season. We're second. And this season, if we miss out very narrowly, but you want him gone, even when he wins a title, even if he wins the Champions League, he needs to go. You know where we're going to end up when you start indulging in such foolishness and fantasy is we are going to be like a certain team from Stamford Bridge. Did you see what they did yesterday against Brighton? What they did against Brighton is where Arsenal are going to be in less than 2 seasons, where we are losing games like that 3-0, where we go 5 games without winning a match. We're looking at obscurity, now trying to financially dope, basically they're paying for all sorts of shortcuts they've done. There is no success at the end of a shortcut. There is no success. You need Arteta to maintain this, and we need an organic transfer of sort of like coaching power and everything. The way Barcelona do it, you need to plan it out. Don't be reactionary. If things don't go our way, bring him back. Let's do it again next season, because in fact we are not in a position of shame. We are not. Everything you're feeling ashamed of, your friends calling you, messing with you, laugh it off. Your friends who are laughing at you can only dream that the team they're supporting are in Arsenal's position. But you're so like dumb and so entitled, you don't even see it. The minute you get rid of Arteta, all those fans will be on his doorstep trying to hire him to get to them a project similar to the one he has managed to build at Arsenal, Yeah, they'll do it. They've got the money. They need a brain like that to get them the stability that we've got. So at the end of the day, be as dumb as you want, be analytical, think, but a lot of you guys are gutless. And my only suggestion is if you don't want Arteta as part of our ethos next season, I am asking respectively, because I do not have a right as an Arsenal fan to call people who don't agree with me as anything less, that they don't support the team. We all support the team differently at the end of the day, and I have to respect it. So I am asking that next season, instead of bringing us all down with your nonsense, why don't you just take a break? Support somebody else, hire out your season tickets if you go to the stadium, just to bring the mood down. If you're online, please turn your algorithms off, or whatever you're going to do. Please do not bring your negativity to the club. At the end of the day, we don't need it. We're doing very well. We've slipped. We can see why we've slipped at the end of the day. We've slipped at the end of the day. Our injuries have been crazy this season. We are playing with a back four that hasn't played. We haven't had a consistent back four for more than 5-6 games in a row all season. But it happens to every team in the world. I think the level we play at is just that crazy. And we just never have it. But yeah, if you cannot have some guts and the cojones to maintain and to laugh off this pressure, next season, please find somebody else to support. Because I don't think we need you or that negativity. Join us at the end of the season, because I'm just not interested in your moaning and your whining. At the end of the day, if you're a reasonable person, a human being, you are going to put all the factors together and assess the situation as it is. Otherwise, guys, Manchester City are probably going to go top after they beat Burnley. We know Burnley, they basically are useless, aren't they, this season? They're not useless, as but they are basically finding it difficult to exist in the Premier League. And they're cooked, basically. They're cooked. And they'll get cooked even more tonight, because Pep is going to cook them. Maybe they might find some sort of instinct in them for pride, but I can't see it. I can't see it, but it is not the end for Arsenal. It is just the beginning. The next 5 games are going to be fire on the mountain. And we've got Newcastle at the weekend. Look out for my Newcastle preview on Saturday. But what I am happy with is that the players are getting so much rest. But yeah, I will be talking to you very soon.